Understanding the impacts of insulin is vitally important for your lasting weight loss journey. Look, it's not that calories don't matter, it's that insulin matters more. You have to get to the root cause of your elevated insulin levels, AKA insulin resistance, if you want to produce an environment where your body works with you. And I think that's important to understand the concept of helping your body work with you, not against you, when you get into the caloric deficit. And by fixing insulin resistance, you guys will learn in this video why that is and how we can accomplish that. Enjoy. The reset is the fix to the weight loss plateau. And the weight loss plateau is sometimes obvious. I was losing weight and I'm not. A lot of you came to me for that reason. Sometimes you don't even know you're in a and it's not, and that's why we don't call it a weight loss plateau. Sometimes the term metabolic downregulation is more applicable, but they're both the same thing. It's just how they appear is what makes this confusing. So really, really pay attention to this. And yeah, let's get into it. So Cassie is doing coaching and hormones with us. Super cool. Where's Cassie? There you are.
I'm right here. Hi.
Hey. Let's see. You are already on GLP-1s and BPC 157. Fantastic. How long have you been on the GLP-1?
Since the 1st of July. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you okay.
Oh, okay.
July 1st. Fantastic. You've been on 2.5 and you stayed on 2.5?
I started at 1.25 and went and slowly went up to 2.7, ended at 2.7, and now I'm at 1 milligram once a week.
And we're talking about tirzepatide or semaglutide? Just want to make sure.
Tirzepatide.
Okay, that's good.
I'm pretty much at my target weight, and your team recommended that I switch over to what's the one that starts with T?
Tesofensine?
I think so, something like that.
Yes, tesofensine is usually, a couple times we recommend tesofensine would be if you can't get GLP-1 at all, or if you want to stay on a low dose of both.
It was for belly fat.
Oh, tesamorelin.
Toning the belly. Tesamorelin, yeah.
Tesamorelin, yeah. I was going to say, if you're at your goal, we probably wouldn't have recommended tesofensine. Okay, that makes more sense. And this is your first time starting this warrior coaching, correct? You haven't been with us before?
Correct.
Okay, fantastic.
Nobody's been overseeing me. So I'm excited to actually be watched and told what to do. So
yeah, fantastic. So at this point then, since you're at your target weight, is the goal trying to shift now towards more recomposition, more tone, eating out more?
I've been strength training and I haven't done that for like 30 years. So that's been really good. I just want to make sure that I'm doing enough. And as far as dosages and all that, and should I even be on GLPs at this point? Should I be intermittently fasting? Or
yeah,
okay,
totally. So you're basically heading towards the FLOA lifestyle, but since you're just starting with us, I don't know how much you've already done. Obviously, you lost the weight, so you've done good. When it came to the protocol, how deep in the fasting were you doing?
Well, I fast. I've always kind of fasted like 16/8 on a daily basis.
So this is the ability to live the FLOA lifestyle, which is the easiest format I have ever seen to be able to stay in shape, comes from developing significantly insulin sensitivity, which is the opposite of just reversing insulin resistance. And as much as you possibly can, that means becoming very insulin sensitive. And it's that deep, long protocol of fasting that'll help you do that. Now, most people come to me, they're overweight. And so we're killing two birds with one stone. We're dropping all that fat, but we're also becoming very insulin sensitive. In your case, you're obviously insulin sensitive enough to have lost the weight, but I think it would still be very valuable for you to press on with fasting. But at this point, I get that you're trying to lean and tone and you don't want to lose weight anymore. So we're going to have to really up the calories outside of the fasting window so we can get the best of both worlds. Okay. And so to answer your question about should you take the medications,
there's like my goal for everybody is medication independence. Like optimal health to me means the highest level of health with the least amount of medications. So the question of should I still, and you're on, you said you're back to 1 milligram, is that right, of the tirzepatide?
Yes, that's correct.
So that's
Once
a
a week.
microdose. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
microdose. So, which is great, you know? And so truthfully, if you feel like the microdose or the intermittent use, which is kind of another option, micro spreading it out, right? If that helps you maintain the stability that you need to maintain optimal health, then I'm all for it, right? And so really it comes down to you testing the waters. I think that, and the difference between a microdose and no dose is so small that I just think a lot of people would benefit from having some sort of microdose slash intermittent use in their life. If you could maintain pure stability without it, that's the best path. But
Right.
I think we're starting to pull hairs, if you know what I mean, between micro. But at the beginning, when you're on a massive dose, yeah, let's get you way down to this area that you're already at, which is great. So now it's metabolic health, increasing your muscle mass, becoming more insulin sensitive. That's the stage you're in right now.
Yeah. Would you recommend that I stay on the Tessa and the tirzepatide, or no, I would switch from one to the other?
Well, they're completely different compounds, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, the tesamorelin is going to help both dropping body fat, improving muscle mass, right? Okay. The fasting for at least the next 6 to 8 weeks is going to help you become insulin sensitive. Okay. The microdose of the GLP-1 suppresses your appetite and makes it easier to do, and also helps with insulin sensitivity. So they're handling just completely different things. If you stop the GLP-1, it's going to be harder. But what does harder mean? Is harder still doable? We don't know. So it's just how much do you want to test the water? One is so low, you've done so good. If it were me, I would stay on that dose, continue to get more and more progress. When you're done making progress is when you should start testing the water of maybe, let me try every other week for a couple months and see how I do, and then keep going from there. Okay, so no reset needed because we're not trying to lose weight. So really for you, it's going to be start the protocol, start playing the waters with increasing the fasting window. We're going to talk about fasting to everybody here in a second. And then just keeping your protein and calories on the other days high. Somewhere between 1,800 to 2,000 is what you should be eating on those non-days, those non-long fasting days when you get there. We'll cover that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
But quick answer, long-term guys, counting calories, nah. Yeah. I only make you guys do it as a point. When you read the calorie counting experiment, I think there's a benefit from doing it 2 weeks a year, just to kind of recalibrate. Okay. It's kind of crazy when if you count 2 weeks a year, you look at, okay, I made sure I was eating 1,800 calories, and you get this mental kind of note. That's what 1,800 calories looks like. And then for the rest of the year, you have a bit of intuition, a bit of consciousness, and then every year you kind of recalibrate. That's the only bit of calorie counting that I think people should do, because counting every day is just way too dang much work, you know? Okay, cool. Thank you for that, Cassie. Teresa.
Hi, sorry, I got COVID, so.
Oh, no worries. Well, thank you for being a trooper and still making it on.
Yeah.
And,
so I don't know, like I'm conflicted because I have taken off 169 pounds. I've kept it off for 10 years with a 20-pound bounce, basically. And I've been hard set at 200. I get that close to like getting my metabolism under there, and it's a hard bounce back. It started to creep up, to like a 25-pound to 30-pound bounce, which don't want it going that way. I took it off by Dietary and lifestyle. I was doing like a protein sparing keto before it was popular, saving your protein when protein was bad or perceived as bad, and counted carbs. I focus on carbs more than I do calories because I know if it's a good carb count, it's a good calorie count, kind of thought process. And free will with like straight vegetables, those kind of things. I kind of consider them like free points, kind of thing. So I don't worry about like counting them as much. So like, am I in a plateau? Well, yeah, I started tirzepatide at 2.5 milligram, then I went to 5. I didn't see any weight loss until I hit 10, but I couldn't even put in all my medications and all my medical history because it kept deleting them out because there was too many, I think. I'm looking at this also as a way to get under that 200 so that my metabolism isn't hard set there. One, two, getting off a lot of the other medications that I'm on, is a plus.
Yeah.
The lesser of two evils. I did take off. I started in May, and since May, I took off. I went from 132 to my last weigh was 11.4. So I have come down, but I've been staying right at that. I'm sorry, 211. Sorry. I want to be 111. I've been pretty, like steady, staying at like 210, 211, 210, 211, kind of there for a little bit. But I'm not looking to go up on my tirzepatide just because I know if I stay there long enough, hopefully I might implement these other things that will kind of like keep me going. But I've done 60-hour fasts once a month for years. And I do intermittent fasting just about every day. I go more 20 and 4 because I'm working all day long, so it's really easy to do. And I come home and eat dinner with the family, and then I don't eat after a certain amount of time. I get a minimum of 100 grams of protein in just my protein drinks because I do 2 scoops in the morning and 2 scoops in the afternoon. So I could be breaking the intermittent fasting, by having those 2 scoops.
Well, we'll get into all that.
But that's my story. I don't know if I'm like needing a reset or not.
Gotcha. What I mean? How many calories do you think you average a day?
Well, probably 1,200, I would say, to 15, roughly there, because you're doing it in a more condensed time frame.
Yeah. So from a pure calorie standpoint, we got to get that metabolism faster. We got to get things sped up. So let's start you off at 1,500 calories. You will be doing a reset. And as a reminder, if we establish that you need to do a reset, that's like a mini program within my program. The goal is to graduate you through the reset. And the only modification when you're in a reset is no long fasting. Do I get it? Because of all that stuff
really
you have
does.
I know it does. I know it does.
4 autoimmunes. Yeah. And they're all inflammatory.
Well, and that's going to be another deal. So just be patient with the process. I need you eating calories all 7 days a week. We got to have you eating every day just for this process, and then we'll get you through it as fast as we can. Okay. Are you taking low dose naltrexone?
No.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I'm a provider. Yeah, like I talked about that with Keith, Mr. Keith, and I don't think that's something I want to do.
Okay. Any quick reason why? Just curious, because it's for everything you have going on. I think that'd be absolutely amazing for you, in my opinion. I mean,
it's one of the meds that they did with me in the past because they took me through neurology and rheumatology, and it got bad. I ended up going to like level 3 dementia. There's like certain meds that just scare the shit out of me. That's one of them.
So you were on it before and you had an issue, is what you're saying?
I think that was one of the ones in my forgotten years, I call them. I went through 3 years of literally, I'm not joking when I say level 3 dementia. And they found out like a lot of the meds that they were putting me on, in rheumatology and neurology were actually, I was reacting badly to, like the whole Neurontin group.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously you sound pretty in tune with your body for sure as an NP yourself. So I think you're going to need something for extra inflammation support, like BPC 157 would be something that I would strongly urge you to consider. Maybe even so BPC 157 and KPV, they're 2 different peptides that we can get compounded into a pill, both for gut healing and the anti-inflammation. So we have information on that we can send you, but yeah, definitely. I just don't want inflammation to be the roadblock for you, which I know it is. And so I'm trying to
Can I ask you something really quick? Does tirzepatide have an anti-inflammatory component?
It does. It does.
I noticed a big difference with specifically my hips and my shoulders.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. And you're already on that, right? You're at a good dose. So I'm just thinking, what else can we do? The supplements that we're going to talk about, the curcumin and resveratrol, I want you to mega dose that. There's a whole anti-inflammatory protocol.
Hi.
Yeah. Hello. I like that you're traveling the space right now. That's pretty cool. Okay, so talk to me. Where are we at as far as just kind of what's going on with you diet wise? What are you doing anything? Is this just first time starting with us, or tell me a little bit more?
This whole process scares me. I'm not in any medication. I'm more on the holistic side. I try to do it myself. It's been a struggle with my hormones. I've gone through menopause, so I work out 5 days. I do strength training. I've been doing it for 2 years. Maybe
Awesome.
my body did a recomposition.
Yeah.
But the weight is just going up, not down. As far as consumption on food, I don't eat I don't eat out, or I don't eat unhealthy. It's just on the belly side. It just doesn't want to come off. And like I said, I do a lot of weight training. I haven't been able to find the right composition either. I've done the fasting, I've done small meals throughout the day. When I work out, my consumption goes up, of course, because I need more of the protein just to make sure I maintain on the muscle side. But it's just a belly weight does not want to come off. So I haven't been able to find that right combination. But once again, this whole thing about medications kind of scares me, but I need some sort of, okay, let me just get to it and then continue my path.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that. And look, I was reluctant way back then because, as you know, I'm very, very much aligned too with reducing prescriptions, preventing surgeries as much as possible. But, this is a tough battle, the battle that we're all facing. Metabolic health, I think we're all screwed to do it without medications, most of us, because of the other stuff that are out of the uncontrollables, the toxic stuff that's just around us 24/7 in the air we breathe, and even the air that we walk through is full of EMF radiation and exposure. So it's pretty nuts, this situation in time, and because of that, I think it's very unrealistic for most people to do it without the help of science. So, but, if it makes you feel better, this really isn't a drug. It's a peptide,
Okay.
but I don't call it a pure unadulterated peptide. BPC would be an unadulterated peptide, very low, almost non-existent side effects. This is like a peptide drug, in my opinion. They modified this peptide to last way longer in the body, which is very unnatural. So, of course, do you call it a full drug? Do you not? I mean, no one knows. So in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, this is like a peptide drug. It's in the middle, because our approach is so different. We're doing lower doses. It does make me feel much better about the potential negative consequences with all the upside. So we're minimizing the risk, we're minimizing the downside, and we're just maximizing the upside, if that makes you feel a little better. I'm sure you probably know that. That's why you're here, but I just wanted to really reiterate that. How many calories do you think you're averaging?
I was looking at how many calories I burn when I work out, and it's roughly like 2,800 to 3,000, right? When I work out. And then whenever I consume more like 1,800, 1,900 calories. So I am down, but once again, I don't know if this is menopausal thing that it's just, and it scares me to go to, there's so many mixed messages, when you're in menopause, do you do intermittent and mess up your hormones even more? Or do you do the small little portions and make sure it's high in protein? So that's where it's my confusion. I just don't know which way it's going to work for me. So,
yeah. Obviously, I'm a big fan of fasting. Fasting for women, long story short, can mess up your hormones if you're not aware of what to do and how to do it. This is a quick answer.
If you're watching these clips from my coaching calls and wishing you can be part of the team, I'll put a link in the description, but we have thousands of individuals who are kicking ass using microdose intermittent use protocols and implementing sustainable lifestyle strategies, guys. Click that link, fill out your information. Now, back to the show.
And so obviously we do. And so you have nothing to worry about. And the peptide AOD really does help as well. If you're on that one, some sort of fat mobilizing peptide does really help as well. So your caloric intake is great. So no reset needed. So you're going to be able to roll right into the program.
Okay.
Fantastic. Let's see. We got Jen. How are you, Jen?
Hey, I'm good.
All righty. Let's see. Got some fasting experience with you. That's awesome. Are you already weaning off GLP-1s, or is that your goal?
I have never taken them.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's your goal of like when you start it, you want to make sure you can wean off.
Yes.
Perfect.
And similar to the previous woman, just, very holistic sort of background medically. I'm a big follower of Mindy Pell's. I got pretty into fasting probably about a year or two ago and started experimenting with some of these longer fasts. And the two things that really helped me in terms of weight is whenever I go completely carb free, like keto, zero sugar, refined sugar, or if I can do the 24, 48-hour fast. And the issue I run into is after those longer fasts is my hunger is off the charts. And I don't even eat like a ton of calories, I mean, I eat pretty moderately, probably, I don't know, 1,800, 2,000 calories a day or so. And, like the previous woman, weight training, cardio, not a ton, but, I definitely get in a couple of days of the weight training. And there just seems to be, Mindy talks about this switch, the ability for the metabolism to switch from sugar to fat burning energy sources. And she talks about how some of our switches are rusty. And I think that's where I'm at. And so my hope is that these can kind of help me get to that 24, 48-hour fast window ending. And then I'm not starving whenever I go back into, it's like a more nice transition back into eating.
Yeah, no, and I love Mindy, and I'm very much postulating that I will be on a podcast with her. Nothing but great stuff to say about her.
I Googled you to see if you'd already been on her podcast.
Yeah, I'm just not big enough yet, I think, to catch, she's big, she's big time. And she just doesn't have the experience that at least she doesn't talk about it. Maybe she does, but she doesn't have the experience with the peptides and the GLP-1s like I do. But other than that, I mean, I agree with everything she says. And that's what I want to talk to her about is, hey, here's what I'm seeing, because she talks about how women can have issues with fasting during certain times of their cycle, ovulation, the progesterone phase. And I'm sitting here going, when they're not on peptides, I see the same thing. But when they're on peptides, it's like a whole different ballpark. But yeah, the combo of the AOD, the GLP-1 will, exactly like you said, allow it to be much smoother and easier. So the switch she's talking about, people call that fat adaptation, or they call that metabolic flexibility, to be able to switch fuel sources. And with FLOA, what we're doing, and that's a little bit of a difference too. She doesn't recommend this aggressive of a 48 every single week. The most I've seen her talk about is 36. And even that's like I've heard her say twice a month, once a month. So it's a step up. Yeah. And I've done it for enough years to feel this comfortable recommending this sort of an aggressive format. And I think it's because of the peptides. I think that they really help. But yeah, I mean, that's the fat adaptation, the metabolic flexibility. The AOD 9604 gives you artificial induced fat mobilization, artificial induced metabolic flexibility. So it makes it easier for you to do the long fasting. Well, guess what? When you're doing the long fasting, what are you building? Natural metabolic flexibility, natural fat adaptation. So yeah, your viewpoint is spot on. And that's exactly what we're going to do so that you don't have to keep taking the AOD for the rest of your life. For me personally, I use AOD on long fasting days just to increase the results of fat loss. And I will for the rest of my life while I have access to it. And that's my goal for all you guys, is get you as metabolically flexible as we possibly can. And, at that point, it's more of a luxury than a necessity in the future. So,
cool.
Okay, cool. So what calorie wise, where do you think you're at? How many calories a day do you eat, when you're not long fasting?
I mean, I have to start tracking again. There was a period of time where I was tracking macros and all that kind of stuff. I don't think my eating habits have changed dramatically since then. I would say between 800 to 2,000, maybe 1,600 to 2,000.
Okay. So you probably don't need to reset, but let's start you off at 1,800, kind of a mini reset, just to see where you land, see what happens at 1,800, and then possibly go up to 2,000 just to establish where you're at.
Okay.
Fantastic. Ceci, if you want to call my 2 o'clock, just let them know we're running a little bit late. More maybe like 2:10, 2:15.
Okay.
Perfect. So let's get into the food. This is much easier than many people make it. We're just eating less processed foods, right? The anti-processed food diet is when we're not fasting, we want to be eating whole, nutritious, less processed food. I don't think it's realistic to say go 100% clean. So I'm all about that 90-10 rule. Give me 90% clean, give yourself 10% whatever you want. Paleo, Mediterranean are great representations of what to eat. Now, pause. I saw some questions come in. I actually want to get those before I forget. I think when I started balancing my hormones, my weight started changing. It does when you start playing around with hormones. Also, I need help with dosing for how long. Okay, perfect. I'll come back to that right after I finish food, Cassie. Just want to make it was related to fasting. So, okay. So the 90%, 90-10, 90% clean, 10% Paleo Mediterranean are great representations. The only modification I want you to make is I do want you to go keto. So going keto for the first couple months of this really does. Now, Cassie, you're kind of in your own boat. We have some more flexibility. I probably want you having carbs actually on your lifting days, but for everybody else that's starting, we want to go keto when we're not fasting and just create that low insulin environment. And then you'll get to a point where Cassie's at, where she can actually have some carbohydrates on her lifting days. High protein, at least 1 gram per pound of target body weight. So somewhere between target body weight, current body weight, totally fine. Don't need to stress about it. Just make sure you hit that at least. And then the keto side of things, 50, 60 grams of net carbs. So it's not super strict keto, but it's low carb, it's low carb encroaching on keto. Don't need to worry about ketone monitors and blowing ketones and making sure you're in full blown ketosis. That's amazing. You will be when you fast this often. Trust me, 24 hours, 30 hours, you have no more carbs to burn. So you are in keto, but your body's stressed. It's not used to it. The switch is not on. Cortisol levels are rising. That's the other part of when is fasting so detrimental to the body? Well, when it's really stressful. When is it really stressful? Well, we talked about ovulation and progesterone phase, but it's also generally more stressful when you're not metabolically fit, when you're insulin resistant, when your fat adaptation is really low, meaning your body's not good at doing that. And then you ask it to go do that, right? That's stressful for your body. So your body starts rising cortisol levels. And guess what AOD does? Makes it easy for your body. So that's why the peptides are pretty beautiful for what they can do. They really allow us to take advantage of these pathways while simultaneously building the natural ability to do these pathways, which is nice. Any questions on the food, the fasting, the food, how it all works together?
So I have a quick question about the carbs on lifting days. So you're saying carbs, like a modified keto all week long, except for when you're fasting, obviously, and then lifting days. What if you're fasting on lifting days?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be doing that if I were you. So in general, you can do it as a way to switch things up and shock the body, because it's a shock to lift heavy weights and fast. But I don't do it, and nor would I recommend anybody to do that regularly for muscle building. Now you're in the stage of maintenance. We're going to increase your fasting. You haven't done that before. So I don't want you losing a bunch of weight. I don't want you losing a bunch of muscle mass. So in order to get the benefit of both becoming more insulin sensitive, I need you lifting and I need you eating carbs on those days to fuel your muscles for a good workout. So like I said earlier, guys, when it comes to the fasting side of things, the main modification when you're in a reset, intermittent fasting only until we graduate you. Then when you get past that, the longer fasting, as you read, you can slip into the 48 as quickly as you comfortably are able to do so. So you saw my recommendation of supplements. There's the standard essential supplements. You guys have the doses there. You have all the products, so we don't need to spend too much time going there, just because I want to make sure I can get you guys out in time. You have all those non-essential, which are sort of situational supplements. And they're situational. I put them there because they can be a big deal. I just don't want to overwhelm you and call them essential when they're technically not essential for everybody. But any one of those extra supplements are there to help you through a potential barrier, as you guys saw, There's stress, there's sleep, there's gut healing, there's liver cleansing, there's the anti-aging. So a lot of those are great. They're there. If you want to tackle that at the same time and you're ready, go for it. And if you're not, you want to focus on the bare minimum, that's what the essentials are. We did update our essential protocol recently to include digestive enzymes and probiotics, which I think at this point, I would say with GLP-1 medications, taking digestive enzymes probably with your meals, if you're just starting at least, is probably a requirement now. So we've migrated that into our essential bucket as well as a probiotic. Now, there is a bottle on that welcome page called Thyroid CMV, which is right at the bottom of the essentials. For anybody doing a reset, I need you to get one bottle of the Thyroid CMV. That will absolutely help your body's metabolism speed up. So I do want you to get one bottle of the Thyroid CMV. And then the appetite suppressing supplements are nice just to have additional handy things you can take for some short term. I'm struggling with the fast right now, but I want to keep pushing myself. Bam, I could take it. The Unamate tea is really nice. I do those all the time, actually.
So are you saying you can take the Unamate, because I have that, while you're fasting, or?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. Yeah.
So the Unamate, I could do that on fasting days, and sometimes maybe on the other days where I'm just like, for whatever reason, I'm just like more hungry and I'm in the middle of work and I don't want to eat, I'll grab that. It's nice, situational. I don't use it every day. And then the balance in the evening, because there's a little bit of caffeine in the Unamate, so the balance is great for skipping dinner. Oh yeah, because it's fiber, but it's a special kind of matrix of fiber, so that helps too as well. So any supplement fasting food questions? Cool. Dosing for tesamorelin, the doses will be on the box, but the 5 days on, 2 days off in the evening before bed. And depending on what concentration you've got, it'll tell you how many units of it to inject. It'll clarify the number on the box for you.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. All right. So the last part I want to cover with you guys is the exercise part, specifically resistance training. I cannot stress how important it is. You basically need to lift weights like a bodybuilder. Now, the nuance, the context of that is you don't need to lift as much as a bodybuilder. No. You don't need to. Their volume is a lot, right? But the way they lift, if you ever looked at a bodybuilder, they lift very differently than a lot of the weight loss workouts that you see on social media. What's been popularized in the weight loss space is more of that aerobic style of lifting, circuit training, even CrossFit, although CrossFit's very intense and there's a ton of benefit if you can do it safely and not injure yourself. But there's a reason why bodybuilders don't do CrossFit either. Bodybuilders are trying to maximize muscle growth. Now, why would I want you to lift in the same way that someone else is who's trying to maximize growth? If you're like Dr. Jones, I'm not trying to grow. I get it, but I want to give the strongest stimulus to your muscles to not break down during this program. I want you to protect and save and preserve as much of that precious lean body mass that you already have on your body. And that's the specific way that I want you to lift. The reason why I don't care about you doing the circuit and burning all these calories is because when you fast, you're burning a ton of calories already. So it's caloric deficit, right? So I'm not worried about you having to maximize both. I just want you to guys maximize that style of lifting. So Teresa, what are you doing a weight training program right now?
I have a mirror, which is a resistant band, as well as a Peloton and an elliptical. I haven't been doing the resistant as much. I've been doing more of like getting on the stepper and the Peloton, but I can certainly double back there. I guess where I lack there is like just kind of, knowing what to do, so are we going to have access to like kind of seeing different exercising patterns or anything like that?
A workout actual deal is something that I have in production, but no, we don't have that yet. But I will say that, and that's why I established this on this call, because it's so important. So if you feel like you're like, I just don't really know what to do, this is where a personal trainer, I think, even for just 5 to 8 sessions, you don't have to go crazy with a personal trainer because I know they're not cheap. but 5 to 8 sessions is enough. Tell them, like, this is what I'm getting, this is what I'm working with. Make me comfortable around whatever gym you're at, and really teach me what hypertrophy training looks like. Because you can watch videos on YouTube and learn, but you're having to sift through a lot and put it all together and make sense, because there's just so much data on YouTube. I still recommend you watch as much as you possibly can on hypertrophy style weight training. But I think nothing beats a physical demonstration in real time on the equipment that you're going to use. Make sure your form is right, your technique is right, you're not hurting your joints. I have a video about weightlifting on FLOA University that you guys should check out. It teaches you the language, like understanding the tempo, range of motion, sets, reps, which would help you communicate with the trainer better. Teresa, I recommend you go with that approach. That way you get comfortable, and you guys 2 to 3 days a week, 45 minutes, full body routine would be plenty for where you're at now. Fantastic. Okay, good. Cassie, I think you said you're already lifting, right?
Yes, I'm doing a strength training class 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for 1 hour. It's mostly weightlifting with a tiny bit of cardio. I love it.
Which I don't want to take away from you if you love it. With your goal, though, being where you're at, we need more hypertrophy. We need less cardio, because that's my biggest concern for you, is that you're going to be burning too many calories as you start the fasting. So you can offset that.
I also play pickleball like 2 hours a day, every single day.
Yeah. So then I hear you. Then you're going to have to increase your eating like crazy. So let's do this. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't know that. You said your intake is averaging how much?
I didn't say. I don't really know. I don't know how to count calories, so.
Totally. Did you read the part about the calorie counting experiment, right? We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, I need to go over that again.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, rewatch that section. There's a video and there's a part to read, but you will do really well by doing that experiment, and everybody should, right? And then you just do it just for like 3 weeks. Just make yourself do it for 3 weeks. That's it. So here's your homework. Your homework is going to be that you're going to do this for a couple days. As soon as you count your calories for a couple days, you'll be able to then kind of look back and go, oh, I'm averaging blank, right? I've been averaging 1,200. Once you can give me a representation of what you think you've been averaging, shoot us a text message, and then we're going to keep bumping you up. So I do think with that much activity, you're probably not eating enough. Okay. And that's going to be the first priority right now, above anything else, is getting you to even realize how much you should be eating. I mean, 2 hours of pickleball, I know it's not like, not the most, but it's still a calorie burning activity. I'm actually going to, it's funny you mentioned pickleball. It's on my list to try. I really want to try pickleball myself. I've heard it looks I have friends that play volleyball that play pickleball too, and they keep telling me to try it out. So I definitely want to try it.
If you guys enjoyed watching this video, then you guys are going to want to check this one out. I take a deep dive into fasting and overall lasting weight loss strategies utilizing these GLP-1 medications in the best format, microdosing, intermittent usage. Check that out, guys. We'll see you later.